Welcome to the Coffee and Collaborations podcast, yet another episode. I am your host, Kimberly Winborn of Kimberly Winborn LLC and Coffee and Collaborations Media.
I am your co-host, Al the Great, lead designer of Good Steward Apparel Brands and CEO of Good Steward Apparel.
That's
Today
right.
we have another amazing guest, and I know he's an awesome guy. I've met him a couple of times, but I know he has to be awesome because his name is Alvin, just like mine. So
that's all right.
Yeah.
Yes, and so welcome, Alvin. This month we are focusing on your health is your wealth, and
Yes.
It's summer, it's July. A lot of people, even outside of a pandemic, we still want to be in shape, and for some reason, usually in the summer is when we think about it, probably because we're still outside a little bit more, it's warm, all of those things. But we talked about, Al and I were joking about that quarantine 15. I think you might have added a few more pounds to
Quarantine 19 pounds.
Quarantine 19. But a lot of people are experiencing some poor health prior to the quarantine, but definitely gained some weight as a result of being more sedentary at home. And so we really wanted to bring on coaches, personal trainers, and those who are even more than a personal trainer like Alvin Miles to give us some tips, tools, and things that we can do at home, from meal planning to moving. And so that's what this month is about, the month of July. So welcome to our Health is Wealth episode, first episode launching July 2020 of Coffee and Collaborations.
Awesome. And Mr. Alvin Miles he's a personal trainer, but like Kimberly said, he's more than a personal trainer. He's a very qualified person, and he's going to tell you about all his different degrees. And he's the owner of Amplify, who takes a holistic approach and has some unique techniques of getting people well and then focusing on that holistic wellness. So Alvin, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, Al, how y'all doing today? My name is Alvin Miles. I'm a biomechanics specialist. In my field of work, what I do, I focus on helping your body, learning how to communicate with your mind and vice versa. Sometimes we do a lot of different things in our lifestyle and we're thinking that it's the right thing based on paperwork, because we see these different regimens, these different ways of how to keep ourselves healthy, but it's not really us, because we all have our own blueprint. And a lot of times we don't realize our own blueprint for our body. We will tend to do the wrong thing. It may feel right for the time you're doing it, but your mind is not really being receptive to what your body has to do to move in the right pathway for you.
Yeah, I love that. So you help people to get their personal blueprint for their body.
Yes.
And so, Alvin, what's that process like? Like, so I come to you and I say, because, we all come with what we expect from this sort of a relationship. Like, so first of all, this is me. Oh man, I'm in the mirror. I'm like, I gained 15 pounds or whatever. First of all, I want to lose weight. So I'm sure all of you all listening, somebody out there is like, okay, so if I'm going to work with somebody, I want to lose weight, right? But then there's other stuff like knees hurting, back hurting, all these different things. So your client comes to you with all the stuff they think that they need. And what is the process? Do you just have some sort of a systematic evaluation up front, or what's the process for your program?
Thank you for asking. Typically, when someone comes to me, I look at them where they are. A lot of times, like you're right, Kim, I hear people say they want to have this expectation, this body size, shape, microwave body like that, snap and go, but it doesn't happen that way. We have to see where you really are in the moment. And if I can see where you are, I can show you the reflection of you. And then we can start seeing sometimes, like, why is your knee hurting for real? Is it because you're sitting? Are you stressed? Are you having other issues with your body? A lot of times what you feel is hurting is not really the actual result of what you're feeling. It could be the hip. It could be your lower back. It could be your neck. You have a muscle that runs from your neck all the way down to your pelvis. People don't even realize that it's not even anything doing with the spinal cord. It's a muscle to help you keep yourself balanced. And that's something I have to share with people sometimes, is what's going on inside of your body personally, not just as the regimen says, if I want to have bigger chest, I have to do push-ups. If I want to have a bigger butt, I got to do squats. That may not work. A lot of my clients have not done a single squat and have not lost a single physical pound, their body has dramatically changed because we have things inside of our mind that holds our stress. We have things inside of our daily lifestyle. The things we look at can make us get stressed out. So my whole purpose is for each person to see where they are on the algorithm based on how their circulation works, the repetition and response works, and then how do we work on application. And that's a 4-step process, and everyone's process is different in that way. So that's just the basic way to start off, and then we go into more of the biocommunications. I have this machine called a bioscan, which actually will show you the different categories of your life from childhood on up, and it helps you to see the different elements that happen inside of your life, whether injuries, whether trauma, whether anything in your life. And of course, it's confidential, but we use that sometimes to see maybe there was something that actually unlocked part of your life that made you feel like it's not the very thing that I thought it was. It actually was this category here. It was something that I saw, was an allergy or anything. And then we start to integrate that inside of a blueprint model that fits you, only for you. Not like everyone does the push-ups or the squat challenge and has to work because you feel the burn. Sometimes you won't even feel a burn, but you're going to see the results happen. And it sounds crazy because our minds think, wow, we're always in this place of feeling the burn, feeling the burn. If you don't burn, you don't earn. It's not always true. If your body moves in circulation the proper way, you actually have better results.
Okay, awesome. So Alvin, do you ever have, and this is funny because you get personal trainers, but do you ever have somebody come to you with maybe a woman who comes to you with that little black dress, like, look, I need to be able to fit this in about 2 weeks?
Yes, I've had microwave visions come to me a lot. And I have to slow it down and say, if I give you something that you have had in 2 weeks, that you're wanting something for 2 weeks, that's something you already had for 10 or 15 years, it doesn't add up. It's like he's telling me to get rid of all your problems in a matter of time. So you don't go about dealing with any of your problems. I want you to deal with your problems and see your problems and understand those, because if you see the problem, you actually respect the result of the answers that you have. I've had clients who are with me for 2-3 years and are still seeing different results that really surprise them. So I don't really look at it as a get rich quick or a fast thing. You have to make this change permanent. So it takes time to make a permanent change.
Yeah,
it took you time to get that weight gain, or took you time in your life for that to inch on top of you. Some things may take a little longer. Now, seeing results happen in one day, and that's another thing to talk about, and what parts of the body that actually happen. The first week, literally, I've seen bodies transform like immediately, and we only meet twice out of the week. That's pretty much is the max I have, is 2 or 3 times out of the week. It's not an everyday thing. So the results also show you on a long-term basis how your body changes and stays that way, not having to go backwards again.
Yeah, I know something. I know myself. I need to work on. Like we joked about. Gaining a little weight over this quarantine. Mm-hmm. But how do you? I feel like so many people they focus so hard on the scale. Mm-hmm. And they get. And, losing weight can take time, like you said. It's not a microwave process. But you get so many people that focus so hard on the scale, and if they don't see that scale go down, they get very demotivated. How do you keep people motivated and not so focused on that scale?
Thank you for saying that. That's a really good question, because even as much as I try, some people may come back because we have this belief based on what we see and hear around us, which is a good thing to say about this pandemic. We tend to believe the very thing that we think that everyone else calls a truth. And so one way I do is that if you look at the results of the body, we always look at the first things we talk about from the very beginning, and we revert back to those very things. We're like, the scale hasn't changed. I'm like, well, what is that weight telling you? Is it muscle? Is it body fat? Is it water weight? Is it still stress? You can gain weight by having stress, not even physically see it in your body. Your organs literally can expand and hold fluid. And you could be having that heavy weight. You can hold inflammation on the outside of your organs as well. And that could be the weight you never actually ever see. And your organs could be even cleaning themselves out, and you don't even see the whole deposit or the whole waste that's pushed out of the body yet. And you're wondering, why is this weight on me? Well, your body has to clean itself. That's a weighty process as well. So I try to show them information that they never ever knew about. And thinking, okay, the scale may tell you one day you're 5 pounds less. What if you were so stressed you were losing weight? And then you're happy about the number on the scale. And so it's about understanding, what does that scale mean for each each person individually, because everybody's going to look at it in a different way.
And when it comes to food too, Alvin, when it comes to food as a part of the blueprint, you're helping people to meal plan, right?
That is true, and that's a very that's a very touchy situation, because I can give someone a meal plan and tell them to eat right, and it's fine, and you can eat this different food. But if your enzymes inside of your body is not breaking the food down, no matter if you eat the healthiest diet in the world, you're not going to absorb that nutrients inside of your body. So I've seen people go on these meal plans that work for them because they mentally feel good about it. And some people may not feel good about it, and it still works for them. So if we go into the food process, it's always about how much your body's absorbing energy to keep yourself thermally active on the inside, which is what people do the keto diet or the whole moon diet and everything. Everybody's trying to do is they're trying to find the thing they can believe in. And when everyone believes in something, it causes a shift in the environment and change. So they may start eating a certain way. So I have to bring it back in and say, well, what if you're okay eating this particular food because your body has to know how to fight against this food? Or what if you're okay or not okay eating all this food, like going vegan for a long time because your body could be depleting itself? So we have to really gear and understand, like, how does that person's body absorb and work to receive the nutrients they have to have, and how do we also find what you're just deficient in? And if you're deficient in something, you have to put a cap on top of that to make sure that's being filled up for you.
So your background, I would love for you to talk a little bit about your background. If you could project a little bit more, because you have such an amazing background, and I think it makes sense to explain that, and if people could understand a little bit more about how you got into this level of performance development for people. And I think about that word performance because most people think about it in relation to athletes, which I know you do work with athletes, but just the average Joe, the average Jane that really needs to be able to perform better. And, you know, from waking up in the morning to be able to get out of bed easily and not barely roll out, you know, to be able to do normal things, that is also a part of performance. So that's what I think about. But I think for the average person, we think more so athletes. So what are the client types that you're working with? And if you could tell us a little bit about your background and your evolution to now.
Gotcha. So my first part of, I don't mention always at the beginning, but I will this time. I'm a two-time Olympic contender of 400-meter hurdles. My first Olympic trials actually was amazingly, I qualified when I was 16 in the high jump. I didn't know anything about anything. I just said, okay, I qualified for Olympic trials and high jump, and didn't go anywhere with that, but it was still an opportunity to pursue in that. But 2004 and 2012 were two strong years for me as an Olympic contender. So I understood what it meant to separate myself from the actual routine. I was around a lot of basic routine exercises and regimens. I'm like, something inside of me is holding me back, and I don't know what it is. And so I had to really dive deep and understand, okay, I'm doing all these certifications. I have a functional exercise certification, I have a degree in exercise science as well, business degree as well, and engineering background, and very big on science. And I'm like, all right, I have all these different echelons of work, but am I really applying it to myself? So I said, all right, Alvin, let's put together a blueprint for you that fits your algorithm, your body mass, everything with your stuff, the way how you think, how you process, and let's put this together and have this process produce something out of you. So after that, I realized that I saw a major result in myself. And then I started having people come to me immediately, like, what do you do? How do you do it? And I was like, well, the best way I can tell you is I can say you're a personal trainer, but it was like, oh, I can't really call it that because it's more than that, as you said earlier. So then we went in, and I went further down the years, and I dived into and understand, okay, let me solidify everything with my last certification as a biomechanics specialist, which falls under some of the categories as exercise physiologists, but it's a little more well-rounded. So
okay.
I went with that route and started going to expand more with business in that. And for the last 10 years, I've noticed that I've kept finding the different ways of helping people to fall in their own blueprint for themselves. And I work with people who have past athletic backgrounds. I have a lady who's 78 years old, and she probably, maybe she was playing like kickball when she was younger, but she's doing pull-ups right now at the age of 78. And it's amazing to see. When she first came to me, she had a traumatic injury where she fell on her shoulder and her arm couldn't go past this region right here. And she was afraid to go to the doctor. She was afraid to even walk sometimes. Now she's literally doing pull-ups like regular pull-ups, and it's amazing. Have some other people who came to me who lost literally 40 pounds in 4 months and met me only one time out of a week because we changed the mindset, and they still haven't had an athletic background. Some guys and ladies that have who come to me, they have an athletic background, and they have to change their whole mindset of how they see how their body works in today's time. They cannot live 5 life cycles ago and say, oh, I want to be how I was back then. That's the last thing you want to tell yourself. So I help them in that case. There are people who are athletes, even are athletes who are trying to pursue to become a more of a professional athlete, even from the collegiate level. I want them to understand that you have to keep moving in that direction to be a better version of yourself.
I like that you focus a lot on, you say, like the behaviors or your mindset, because a lot of times that, we use food for so many different reasons. We a lot of us use it as a coping skill or coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And I like the way that, you keep emphasizing it's about that mindset. I definitely think that is important. So you just started a new endeavor, with salt, and I think kind of a salt lounge. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So a part of Amplify, I had a vision a while ago, and this past 3 months, it was just time to go with it. We're in a position right now where health is very critical. And one thing that's very important to know is what helps the body deplete anything, viruses, bacteria, and toxins. So we would not think that not the table salt on the shelf, but your other earth minerals like your pink Himalayan salts and your Dead Sea salts. We would not think to believe that something like that could actually go in our bodies by breathing it in or even being around it and erasing all those what we call positive ions, which is really bad, and producing more negative ions inside of our body and actually killing these viruses off, because salt actually depletes the water from the cell membrane of all viruses, all toxins, and all bacteria. You can even wash your hands with salt without water. It sounds crazy, but that's what salt does. So around the nation and world, there's these areas that people go to. It's called salt caves, and they go and sit inside for about 45 minutes, and they relax and they breathe in the air, and they literally come out with different results, feeling different elements in their body immediately, and the body starts to reverse their elements into a perfect stasis where they can be the function normally. So I came up with a nice little entity called Halo Salt Lounge, and it's running through Amplify as well. And pretty much I was like, well, let's get healthier. Let's go to the places where we cannot really see with our physical eyes even more. And let's go have a chance to relax during this pandemic, and even this relaxed period any day, and let your body heal itself and kill off these viruses, bacteria, and toxins. So inside of the lounge, you have Dead Sea salt, you have pink Himalayan salt, red and also white Himalayan salt. You even have activated charcoal to purify the air that you're breathing. And the last thing we have are some organic herbs placed inside of some of the salt baskets to help your body get the infusing nutrients of those different herbs, that sort of like sage and rosemary, oregano, thyme, things that your body needs to actually feed off of from your cell membrane to be healthier. And it's pretty much is open now, and it's beautiful. It's all handcrafted. It's not one of the ones you get in a kit in a box. It's pretty much handcrafted from everything that I knew how to arrange the perfect environment to sit in, so your body can heal itself while you're just relaxing.
Okay.
And
can you before we?
But real quick, the slogan for it, because I did have a chance to go to the grand opening last Tuesday, which was amazing. We'll share the pictures with you all, and I'll try to get some more, or at least send you over to Halo Salt Lounge to get those. But your slogan is to find your peace.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Like what does that mean when you tell a person to come to Halo Salt Lounge to find your peace? Just really quickly, what does that mean?
So typically we don't spend time in our piece like we need to. We're
we
constantly going left and right and thinking that everything is important in our own physical body or even our own mindset. So spending time in your piece means you're going to go to a place to understand how to piece yourself to get back together. Because we can give everybody else our piece. And if whoever we give our piece to, we have to go back to the very situation or person to get our piece from them. And we don't want to be giving everybody else our piece. So in the salt lounge, you have time to relax and really just understand more of yourself as well. It's a mind shifting inside of that lounge as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Al?
I was going to say, because I know you talked about it, and I know this is something that is really innovative to a lot of people. I've heard of the salt caves that people go to, but I've never actually been to one. So can you give us just kind of tell us what would people expect? How does it look? Just kind of give people an idea of what they're walking into.
Okay, so that's great. You said the word, how does it look? I would say like no other. It's not like your typical salt cave that's manufactured. You bring a whole bunch of rocks in, and it's just whatever. It's actually organized shelves, and the wall setting is also infused with copper. So when you go inside, it's more like a refuge, like a lounge actually. Like you're going just to relax. So then the other question you asked was what again? Edited. The other question you asked.
I was saying, what can people expect when they're going in there? What can they expect? Like how they feel? Because everybody. When you say something, people we kind of get an image in our head. And I want you to kind of, tell people a little bit more about, so that image in their head can be more of what they're actually going to see. Because, the imagination starts going crazy.
Got it. So it fits 4 people, purposely 4 people, and it's upstairs. So when you go upstairs, you walk in, of course, you're going to see a few creative things as you're going up the stairs, and you get a chance to turn to the right, and you see nothing but this salt on the ground of all the salts I mentioned. The walls are covered with different salt lamps, and also you have other types of rocks formations that are actually from Pakistan that are all around the room as well, even up to a 100-pound salt lamp as well. And matter of fact, still right now, for this grand opening event, we're still offering 15 minutes complimentary. We're still offering 15-minute sessions right now during this time for anybody who wants to come by and just get the experience. It's really like the air you even breathe is different. And when you walk out of there, you're going to notice a difference within even 15 minutes of how you feel. Had a few people tell me when they went up there, they immediately felt their neck hurt or their foot was hurting from an injury they probably had a week ago. And it was like, why is this happening? But that's when the healing process actually starts. And I even had someone tell me they didn't mind sharing on another level. He had a deficiency in his body of about 7 or 8 years, and he said he went home and checked it out, and it really disappeared. He was on up there for 15 minutes. I'm like, this is amazing to hear these different testimonies already, where people's bodies are already shifting. So when you go in there, you may have a visual expectation, which is something pleasant, but the physical and mental expectation, I cannot give you the definition to tell you how great you're going to feel for yourself. And you will fall asleep, more than likely. Sometimes you will fall asleep, people don't, but you will be very relaxed. You have an eye towel that goes over your eyes with essential oil. You also have a weighted blanket, and you're sitting inside of a zero gravity chair. If you care to lay inside of the salt, because salt does not have any bacteria, it's antibacterial and antifungal. So salt cannot hold bacteria. So it's a free range just to actually be yourself and relax. And as we mentioned before, spending time in the peak.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to say when you talk about peace, and you mentioned when people walk in, there's an instant adjustment to how they feel. And so somebody asked me, what did you feel or what did you smell when you walked up there? And that's what I said. I smelled purity. It was nothing. I didn't necessarily smell the herbs and all of that. I smelled the essential oils when I got the towel, the wet cloth, but I smelled purity, freshness, and I immediately felt peaceful. And it's funny, there was a little boy that was there with his grandmother, and I was thinking like, okay, that maybe it's nap time for him, but is he gonna sit still? And he was a good little boy. But he actually, you would not even have known that he was in there because he was so quiet, and I thought he was asleep. And when Alvin came back and got us back downstairs, he jumped right up. But it's such a peaceful place that it kept the young man. He was probably 2 or 3. Very
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Right. And so most 2 or 3-year-olds would not stay for 15 minutes just sitting without squirming. But that's what happens when you walk up there, because you talk about the ambiance is what you were asking, really, Al. And it starts from the time, this is my personal experience, it starts from the time I entered the space, not even the salt cave, but just entered the space to be invited to go into the salt lounge. So I think that says a lot about Alvin too, and how much he has put into the experience. So let's go back to the grand opening. You said that's an extension. Is that this week? I know last Tuesday was the grand opening, so you're extending it through to when?
So Tuesday, if you go on to halosaltlounge.com, or if you can go onto the Instagram Halo Salt Lounge, or even Facebook Halo Salt Lounge, you can go in there and book now. And as you book now, you will go into the category that says book class. Press right there, you will see 15-minute grand opening session. And as you go onto there, you can go and sign up, and then I will see you when you're coming. You will have 15 minutes to get yourself adjusted and relaxing. I advise to wear loose clothing. And when you get here, you will get a chance to enjoy the whole ambiance, as Kim mentioned, and get a chance to have the experience for yourself, so you can have a definition to give somebody else as well.
Right. So you've been working throughout the entire pandemic, working outside with clients, working in a bigger space, in the office space where you are. And so what sort of tips or things can you share with those who are concerned, or information, who are concerned about COVID-19, whether they come into the Salt Lounge or just in general, some tips or things that they can take away with them from this time with you today?
Gotcha. So a lot of my clients, a lot of my patients, they actually know themselves enough to understand how to work with me and work around me. We did take, of course, precautions of social distancing, and we still worked outside on a few days. And some clients we just met online. Yet it was still one thing I had to keep stressing is, even though you're hearing everything, you have to know wisdom for yourself. What is a virus? What is bacteria? How is your immune system? What's needed to be done for you, for yourself? And also, if it does come down to a guideline, of course, we follow particular guidelines, but not falling into a place of fear, because that can make you even more sick. So spending more time to breathe was one thing we did a lot more, breathing in the proper way instead of breathing into our own face. We spent more time breathing and understanding how to move exercises passively, or our motions or methods we did with more passive movements as well. Yes, I did acquire a bigger space just to have people to have more comfortable room, and we made it work, and it worked out great. And now we're even in a bigger space now. So just knowing how I knew I had to stay diligent, because there was a purpose and cause of how things have to function. I knew how I functioned, and also how it was necessary. Like, if I told somebody, well, if you touch this item, it means now you're going to get more sick than you were ever going to get sick before. No, like, let's realize what you're doing and how you're doing it. What is your body breaking off? Is your body going to get sick every time you touch everything? No, it's like, how is your immune system really going to be corresponding? So how much caution are we taking, not only because the environment said to change, but who are we really in that place? Because I know people who really just don't catch anything, not because of the blood types, because of the way how they think and how they believe about that. But if I tell you as a doctor, you're going to die in 2 weeks or a year, and you looking at, oh, you shouldn't lie to me about that. But what if you had a belief inside of yourself to really tell you, okay, I know something inside of me is stronger than this pandemic, that I really can focus on bettering my life. We've seen people come out from all types of ailments and cancers, exercising, pushing their body, and having a strong spirit. And it's possible to do right now to keep yourself strong. Chaos brings out creativity. And this is a mental chaos more than a physical chaos, if you think about it. We have a chance to be more in tune with our creativity and finding ways to help our body adjust. And even if we haven't had a great eating habit, why not spend that extra time in the store, because you know you're inside that line outside of the store. You only get but that one shot of that day, because that line gets too long, you can't go into the store. So be more intentional. Be intentional about yourself. If you have time to spend time with your peace, whether at the Salt Lounge or whether by yourself, spend time with your peace. Understand what is peace for you. Peace is not always a calming place. Sometimes we have to go through something to get peace. When you have a war, you sign the peace treaty at the end, not at the beginning. So understand what is that process of really breaking yourself down, and then not just following the line as everybody else is having to think they have to do, but start thinking for yourself too. There's a lot of time to do that. So those are some recommendations I would give to really stay healthy. You may not like the approach sometimes to really deal with yourself, but it's very, very important to do
so. Okay.
That was good.
Definitely, I like that.
Yeah. Basically, it boils down to follow your blueprint.
Yeah.
Follow your own blueprint. I love it. Well, I've enjoyed our time with you. I want people to be sure to be able to connect with you. So you gave us your information. They just follow Halo Salt Lounge for information on how to book the free 15-minute session at the Salt Lounge, and even further on Instagram, Facebook, and then halosaltlounge.com. Is there any more information that you would like to share concerning contacting you?
Yes. So if you'd like to get a consultation with me, or evaluation just personally on the other level of as a biomechanics specialist, easy. I do simple things with Gmail. It's just amplify with an I, AMPLIFI, blueprints at gmail.com. And just send me your information. Let me know what your concerns are, what you're looking for. You wanted this just to hear me tell you what I see. And I don't mind doing that. And I do that sometimes. I don't know where to start. What do you see? Let's talk about this first. And we have a consultation to understand where you are right now. And then we connect the dots, and then we connect the dots, and everything else we have to do. So that's the best way to start off, is just email me through that route right now. And as Kim said, if you want to get some sessions in, or even right now take advantage of this 15-minute complimentary session, please go to halosaltlounge.com, or even go to the Instagram page or the Facebook page, and everything's on there for you to see. There's information on there too about the benefits of salt and Himalayan salt, and other benefits to be up there as well.
Good stuff.
I like it. Yeah, great stuff.
So I am excited because I am committing to working with Alvin on the blueprint side. And I do think that consultation is good for people so that they can know the benefits on the Salt Lounge, the other things that you provide within your blueprint side of business, and really get the benefit of working with you all holistically, like from the rooter to the tutor, as they say. So I'm excited to have you as our first guest for our Health is Our Wealth series this July 2020. Al, did you have anything you wanted to say to close out?
I'm just excited too. I love the points that you made about the blueprint. If we can't take anything else from this, is to know that each particular body, each particular person has a blueprint, and that Hugh Jackman workout probably is not going to do it. You got to figure out what is your blueprint, and I think that's definitely an important thing to think about. Thank you for coming and joining us, Alvin. You were definitely a great guest to have, very well-rounded, and I love the idea about the Salt Lounge, and I definitely will be checking that out because I know I have enough of my own aches and pains. But CNC family, thank you guys for joining us. Again, I am Al the Great. The coffee is optional. It is a thing that we use to come together, but
yes. But that collaboration, Al, I have to tell you, that is the essential part to your win. So for those of you who have always wondered, what is the deal with coffee and collaborations? That's what it's all about. The coffee is optional, but the collaboration is essential. And so we thank you again. Once again, follow us at coffeeandcollaborations.com. Coffee and Collaborations on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we will see you soon for our next show. Have a great one.
Bye.
Stay healthy, stay safe, wear your mask.
This has been a Coffee and Collaborations media production. Follow us at coffeeandcollaborations.com, on Twitter at coffee in the letter N collab, on Instagram at Coffee and Collaborations, and on Facebook at Coffee and Collaborations. See you in the next episode.